squarely, in our wheelhouse, as the saying goes. It's what we do in FWC, things about how aquatic plants should or shouldn't be managed, things about methodology of doing that. So there's a lot of good information we heard about things that we are actively charged to do. It's our responsibility to do. There is, however, also an overarching theme that we heard loud and clear tonight that has to do more about overall water quality in the state of Florida. And I just want to make clear that and someone mentioned there's a lot of agencies, there's a lot of partnering that goes on. The state agency that has the responsibility for water quality is the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. I don't say this to push that off. I would just want to make that clear because many of the heartfelt comments about septic tanks and runoff and agricultural runoff and many different things that I think it was clear that as an informed audience, there's lots of things contributing to the problem. Growth management. A lot of those things fall squarely in our Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and I encourage you to make your thoughts and your passions known to them as well. They are not here tonight. I just wanted to clarify that, or at least make that comment. Doug? Is it Doug?
If it is their responsibility, why are they not here?
I can't answer. I can't speak for them.
That is a classic example of two departments not working together. You claim to work together, you claim you actually work for each other. When you're having a seminar for the public, everybody's wearing it, the governor announced it, and the people that actually do the work and are under your control are not here.
Well, they're not under my control, and I would just say that like our partners, other partners that are here tonight, they were invited and encouraged to attend.
They were invited. What was the agency that Matt used to work for? Was that DEP? Or was DEP combined with y'all? Now you're all one? So I'm really confused about it. They used to monitor the water quality and do all that.
Okay,
Okay, order please. Order. If you wish to address the group, raise your hand, but we're recognising the present speaker. I think Matt is going to address some of that as he speaks. But for now, Matt, you ready to sort of respond here? But
I think I can, if you can hear me.
we can hear you well. Go ahead, please.
I guess I do want everybody to understand, we have great concerns in the program too. It's why we took this pause. So we have the same concerns you do, and we have the same passion for all the environments here in the state of Florida. I like many of you, fished up and down this lake and love this lake, and lived in this state most of my life, and will die in this state. I have a passion for this environment, and we don't want that to go, without being said, because I know we all have a strong passion for that. But there are some, I think, things that we can look at in our program, make it better, and we're listening to you and hearing you, and I know we're not going to solve them all tonight, but I wanted to try to address some of the things that were brought up tonight, and give you some information on some of the questions that you brought. And because this is the first time we're doing this, I'm going to start from the beginning. First big one that we had. One of the big issues, I guess one of the issues brought up early on was contractors getting paid by the gallon. Just for some information, contractors do not get paid by the gallon that they spray. There is no profitability for that contractor in the amount of herbicides that they spray. So I know that was brought up. If they have to, we direct them on what to spray, and if we direct them for 5 acres, they're going to spray 5 acres, and get paid for spraying the 5 acres. But there's no profitability. In other words, they don't put out $20 worth of herbicide and get paid $40. There's no profitability in that whatsoever by design. We didn't want it to be an incentive to put more herbicide in the environment. Just to make that clear, there is no, we do not pay by the gallon of product going out in the water.
Question.
And then.
Raise your hand, please.
Yeah, can I?
I think what we'll do is, would you hold your questions? We'll let Matt finish. I believe we'll have time to address some additional questions.
And then.
Hold your questions. We'll get back to
comment,
it.
we're obviously, we don't do well on websites or in our outreach. There is a spray schedule too. If you're interested in the spray schedule, I think that was mentioned. We do maintain a spray schedule, a weekly spray schedule, and for whatever lake you're interested in, you can go to our website, myfwc.com, and under the invasive plants homepage, there is a lakes box. You can type in any lake that you want, and you can find not only the spray schedule, upcoming spray schedule, what schedule, you can also find information on the work plan for the year. What these working groups have slated for that control program for the entire year as far as invasive plants is concerned. So you can get that information. We try to push that information out because we are trying to be as transparent as possible in the program. Did we have an additional question?
No, you go ahead and give your responses. Then, if there's time, we may have some questions.
Just don't want to forget it.
Yeah, there was one, I guess one question was about Priscilla being tested on the lower Kissimmee Channel Lakes. Priscilla is a new herbicide being developed, and it actually has a registration. We don't, in the program, we don't use a product that has not been registered for use in the state of Florida. So we don't use that operationally in the program. If it hadn't, this product has been registered for use with the EPA and with Florida DAX. And so we don't just go starting to use that product when we do get a new product like this. So this particular product is a new product for us, and we start testing on a small water system is how that process works. We want to be able to understand this product real well and how we use it in use patterns. We work with the University of Florida, work with North Carolina State University, we work with LSU, we work with a lot of institutions in the Southeast to provide us study information at the mesocosm or small system scale, and we scale that up over time. And when we get to where we're comfortable with how that product works for our program, we institute it in our operations. And this product has come to that stage, and we have just finished a application with this product for hydrilla control on Fish Lake in that system. So that's the alligator chain system, and frankly, we've just had testing on that. We've got some information, and if you're specific, if you want to know specifics about that project, Ed Harris, if you'll stand, Ed is the biologist responsible for that project and in charge and responsible for that system. If you'll get in touch with him, he can provide you specifics on what we found in that study. And I think we answered just, there was a question about the size limit. Is there a particular size limit acres that has to be, that something has to be to get treated?
Yeah.
Was that on a lake system?
It's a lake.
Oh, on the South Lake issue, yeah. I hope we answered that. That is in the program. Get with us after this. We'll see what the issue is there specifically. But that is a lake in the funded program, so it can be, the plants can be controlled in there.
Matt, could you speak to the how our rules work on sizes of lakes that we treat versus homeowners, just to clear that, make it clear? It's not what he was asking, but I think that's an interesting point of the size.
So yeah, there's two different issues. What Kit's speaking of is regulatory. We have a regulatory program where we also permit if a homeowner wants to control plants in front of their property, they have to get a permit from the FWC. And there is a size limit on that. In other words, if it's a lake under 160 acres, it's exempt from our permitting process. So you don't need a FWC permit to do control on that water body. Contrasting that with program waters or lakes that have a public program or have, access. Like you mentioned, South Lake gets its access from Fox Lake, but it's connected and it's in the program because it has a public access lake and folks can use that from that access point. So
My friend's a homeowner and he doesn't request it. They just come out and spray the canal, but they don't get to the south end of the lake where the public access, because the lake is all private.
yeah, I think we can address that specific issue. Because a lake, we don't put partial lakes in the program, it's either in the program or not. And so they should be addressing the hyacinth issue on the entire system. And then I had,
Hill.
there's a more at least that we, was there a parting question that no, I think it's right here, oh yeah. Who enforces what we spray and what we don't spray? That is, there's two things. We enforce invasive plant management. In other words, we direct what you spray and don't spray with respect to invasive plant management. But the regulatory authority for herbicide misuse or over type spraying, where we get a complaint like that is the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. In other words, they're the entity that regulates pesticide use. And so if there's a misuse, in our program, if someone claims a misuse or a misuse of a product, herbicide, we refer that over to DAX and they do a thorough investigation. They investigate our program as well. So we're one of the regulated programs for DAX. So they are the regulatory authority on that. They do the investigations and all that. And then they also regulate. They are the entity that regulates our applicators in Florida. An applicator that applies pesticides in Florida has to have a license from the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. And it's not one of those you just sign up, you pay your money and you get your license. There's a testing involved with that. You have to take a test and pass a test to get that license.
Who do you report this to? Who do you report that to?
Herbicide misuse is the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. And if I didn't miss any of my notes, that is all the...
Well, Matt, there was some couple statements that, a lot about glyphosate, but I thought I heard some about hydrilla and glyphosate. So could you at least provide from our perspective when that herbicide is used and when it's not?
Yeah, just to be clear, in our management program, we do not use any glyphosate for hydrilla management, and there's no fancy way to say it. It does not kill. Glyphosate does not kill hydrilla. So we have never used glyphosate in the hydrilla management program. So we don't use glyphosate for hydrilla control. And I know that's out there a lot on Facebook and on the websites. It's just a little bit of misinformation.
So what do you use and when?
What do you use for hydrilla and when?
So that's a loaded question. You don't know it. It depends. It depends on how large the hydrilla infestation is. There's a plethora of questions that our biologists go through to formulate a plan, including stakeholder input, to get a plan to control hydrilla. There are, put me on the spot. There's at least a half dozen things that we can use. More than that. There's at least a dozen products that can be used to effectively control hydrilla. It just depends on how large that population is and what the management goals for that system are.
Okay, we seem to be morphing into a question session, so I think that's fine. We have time to do that. I've seen a number of hands already. Just make sure I've not missed them to the moment. I've got a gentleman here who I think I'm going to go to first. The gentleman who's raised his hand there, and one in the back. There was a third one in the back. Okay, let's take I think 1, 2, 3 is the order I have, and we'll pick it up from there. So yours is first. Short questions, short answers, please. Go ahead.
In reference to the comments about paid by the gallon, I asked the technician that was doing the spraying himself, I stopped him, said, why are you spraying here? He said, buddy, I get paid by the gallon. And your answer to that is the truth. We tell him 5 acres, he sprays 5 acres. Whether it needs it or not, whether there's native grasses, whether there's a targeted species, you tell him 5 acres, he's gonna spray 5 acres. And that's the problem. That is the concern I have when they are being told, you will spray Lake Winder. Well, they spray Lake Winder.
I apologize for not articulating that
I
well
understand.
enough.
I know what you're saying, but
We
there's
specifically,
management there that actually went around prior to spraying and mapped out, these are the areas I want you to spray. This is the area, there's stuff here, there's stuff here, there's stuff here. Do that.
correct, and
Because when the contractors get in, they show up in mass, boat goes this way, boat goes that way, and boat goes that way. FWC or no management or supervision is there. They did not look at it. They were told an area, they're gonna go spray it.
Okay, I
I
think
think Matt actually has a good answer for that.
well, I think maybe I have muddled that by not properly answering your question or misspeaking. We do direct them exactly what to spray. So we don't say go spray 5 acres in the sense, the 5 acres we ask them to spray is there's 5 acres of water hyacinths and water lettuce. Go spray that 5 acres of water hyacinths and water lettuce. Don't spray native vegetation. We monitor what they spray and make sure that they're spraying the target plant and not spraying plants that are.
Comments in here tonight, and videos that people have on their cell phones, videos they turned in, show just blatant broadcast spraying.
Okay, I think we have that point. I think you've asked
Yeah,
your
I
question.
think we got that
Matt,
well.
I think we're done with this one. You've asked the question. It seems very clear, I've heard from several people, that what appears to be irresponsible or insufficiently focused spraying is perceived as a big problem. Matt, I think you need to write that one down in big letters and take it on board and see what might be done. When we told you we can't solve all the problems tonight. The next speaker was the one in the back there who was trying earlier to speak. Who is that? Tell us your name and a short question again, please.
My name is Dean Bullard.
Dean, just so everyone can hear you. I think that word that you're trying to say was accountability. Maybe that'll be a good word to use.
Thanks, Matt.
My question was, when you talk about spraying, who is the overseer of, after this application rate has been put down, are you guys going back and looking at what has been sprayed? Because what I personally am seeing on a daily basis, I fish 300 plus days a year, okay? So I'm on the water all the time, and I see it. You know, I see where they'll go in and put an application rate down and spray bulrushes on towboat, okay? Why are we spraying bulrushes? I see the lily pads. I see the Kissimmee grass within the lily pads has been sprayed. So obviously, either we're not checking up on what the contractors are spraying after the fact, and no one's being held accountable for what they actually are spraying. And I'm seeing that in a number of lakes around the area, and you can't tell me you're following up on it, because if I'm seeing it on a daily basis, if you guys just went out there once a week, you'd be able to see, why is this stuff dying? Why is it dead? You know, and somebody needs to be held accountable for it, bottom line.
Okay, I think that says it pretty well.
For instance, when we did the drawdown on Toho 16 years ago, I think it was now, when Mr. Hewlon was in charge of the project, don't cringe, okay? You know, sonar, the patent had run out on it. We were still providing, we were still buying sonar from the original company at a and gross.
See, you're not asking questions, you're making another set of statements, so I'm going to cut you off.
Yep, that's
You
fine.
have the question.
Yeah,
We need accountability. I think we've heard that very clearly, and we appreciate you putting that in. Next gentleman's here, and then I'll ask for the next set of hands, but I'm seeing 4. Okay, this gentleman here.
Joe,
FWC,
Have a microphone for you, sir.
Joe. That's all.
Remind us of your
Will, my name is Joel Latta.
Thanks.
Will FWC look into these hybrid enzymes that have been developed specifically to consume the accumulating muck on the bottom of these water bodies? It works.
Who can address that for us? Ed, I see your hand up there. Speak loudly for us.
Yes.
Go, there's your answer. No, it's a short answer, but it's a serious one. Yes, we'll look at it.
Okay, and get some feedback from that.
So let's carefully note, where's our note taker? Let's carefully note that that's an issue. Okay, next set of hands then. I've seen the gentleman in the back, the one right behind him and one there, and then I'll come across to this side of the room, okay?